Welcome to the latest project update for what we've got going on here at Ngāti Hauā. No doubt if you woke up yesterday morning and went down and grabbed a paper, you would have seen this article in the Taranaki Daily News with brother Damon Ritai and myself giving a little update about the project and what we're doing here at Ngāti Hauā. I thought on this update, I wanted to refer to our Rangatira, our Ngāti Hauā men buried out in the corner here at Ngāti Hauā. And I just wanted to give you a bit of a quote from the newspaper here and to correct something that's not quite right, and also to give a little bit of a story about our Ngāti Hauā Tainui men. So here's a sentence in the paper yesterday. The men from Ngāti Hauā in the Waikato were killed in a battle at Mahuetahi in 1861 and buried in the middle of the night by the second vicar of St. Mary's, Henry Govett, who was not permitted to bury them in the church cemetery. So I need to correct a mistake here. They were buried in 1860, not 1861. And secondly, what I thought I would give a little update on is the mystery of when were these men buried. Because yes, one account from the Taranaki Herald dated on the 30th of November in 1968 by the editor at the time, Brian Scanlon. He writes, in the northwest corner of this vicarage garden in November 1860, there was a Christian burial. It was at night and only a few knew about it. They stood beside Mr. Govett as he read the service. So this is a count in the Taranaki Daily News in November the 30th, 1968. However, a much earlier count, only 2 days after the burial, writes this in the Taranaki Herald, dated November the 10th, 1860, so a few days after the battle at Mahuetahi, where the men passed away. And this is what it says: at 12 o'clock noon, the bodies of the 3 chiefs and the 3 natives who died from their wounds were buried in St. Mary's churchyard. The funeral service in Māori being read by Archdeacon Govett. The bodies were placed in coffins and buried in 2 graves. 2 accounts. One says that men were buried in the middle of the night, presumably on November the 6th, the day of the battle at Mahuetahi. And the second account, or an earlier account, says that they were all 6 of them were buried on the night of...
Bro, it wasn't at night. It was in the middle of the day. The account on the 8th was that they were buried on the middle of the day.
1960. So it says they were buried in 2 graves. However, we know here at Ngāti Hauā from sonar rating into the land that there are actually 4 graves. So 6 men buried in 4 graves. We don't know who's in which yet. So of course we know they were buried in Govett's garden because the settlers didn't want the Māori men to be buried in the settlers' grave at the very eastern side or very northern side of Ngāti Hauā grounds. But today's update, I really want to focus on what we are doing at Ngāti Hauā, and of course with Ngāti Tuwiti and Ngāti Hauā, to tautoko these Ngāti Hauā men and to also tautoko Ngāti Hauā today. So to tell you a little about the story about what we're doing with our rangatira, here's a recording I did earlier in the week with Damon Ritai telling us the story of how we're going to honour, show respect to these men and to Ngāti Hauā. So here's Damon Ritai.
Ka pai, tēnā koe Jay. Firstly, whānau, was really important to us that we connect with Ngāti Hauā. So we talked to the tūmaiki of Te Kingitanga, Anaru Thompson, and that's where the conversation started. And really, we waited for Anaru and for Ngāti Hauā to be ready to receive what we were going to do. And that was really important to us. So we took a kaupapa around what we were going to do here to honour our warriors, our Ngāti Hauā warriors. So one of the things that we're doing here is we're going to be moving the headstone and we're turning the headstone around. We know now where our warriors are buried. They are buried along here, and we're going to create a mound that will sit above them so that we know where they are. We also have a footpath that there's opportunity for us to have some design on it that speaks to our rangatira, and also just over here on the vicarage building, the window on the corner there and that front face there is going to have some design on there too that speaks to our rangatira. We're also going to have a po or a kohatu or something that symbolises that our rangatira for Ngāti Hauā are very important to us. We also suggested that Raungaiti Marae would also maybe erect a po there in memoriam to, or memorial to, their rangatira that are buried here. So we also have inside Te Ware Hononga, when it's built, the wall facing towards our warriors will be, I guess, a design that will also, we will also be able to include in our kōrero when we welcome visitors. It's been a wonderful kaupapa, and we're looking forward to strengthening our connections and giving our Ngāti Hauā people time to reconcile themselves and come to peace with what took place at the Battle of Māhoetahi. So, te whānau, mihi ana ki a koutou. When you drive past, give a little beep just to acknowledge our Ngāti Hauā whānau that are buried here. And thank you to Jay for keeping the area nice and clean for us. So, nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tata katoa.
E tai ora, e tai aroha, e tai wairua, e tai nui, e tai